Recently, it was reported that an armed militia was holding immigrants at the border as they awaited Border Patrol to get involved and detain these individuals. These were immigrants who were seeking asylum, and again, they were held at gunpoint by these vigilantes. Well, the FBI luckily had been looking into this, and they have arrested the leader of this militia group. It's known as the United Constitutional Patriots, and the person that they arrested is Mitchell Hopkins. He has a criminal history, which we'll get to in just a minute. But with that said, take a look at this CBS News report on his arrest.
This country was built on three things: God, guns, and guts.
Hopkins leads a militia group known as the United Constitutional Patriots.
And it is an invasion.
Based in Sunland Park, New Mexico, the militia members dress up in camouflage and are armed as they patrol the border looking for migrants who crossed over from Mexico. They are known to wear their own badges.
Oco, siete, Border Patrol.
And impersonate Border Patrol agents. Last week, the ACLU says they detained nearly 300 people. Members of the militia group stand behind their leader.
I am confident that Mr. Hopkins will be through this. He'll fare well. The AG has declared war on American citizens at the order of the ACLU.
No, this is not a war on American citizens. We do not allow vigilantism in the United States. You can't pose as a police officer, and you certainly can't hold people at gunpoint, which is what they were doing. That's kidnapping people. You can't do it. And by the way, the Border Patrol for a while was just turning a complete blind eye to this.
No, in a lot of ways helping them, according to some reporting. We'll get to that in a second. But it's important for you to understand the depth of what Anna is saying. If someone came and pointed a gun at you and had a fake badge, that would be a massive crime.
Yes.
And when they do it to non-citizens, it's also a crime. It doesn't make them non-people, it's just that they're not citizens. You can't go up to a random Norwegian tourist or someone who's crossed the border and put a gun to their heads and their kids' heads and detain them. That's kidnapping. And yes, they're clearly impersonating law officers. Again, a serious, serious crime. And now that's the things they've already done, which are clearly crimes. Again, do we have rule of law in the country or don't we? These are the guys pretending they care about rule of law, but in reality, flouting it every single day. The second part is the disaster that would be imminent if the FBI didn't take action, and thank God they did. They have detained 5,600 immigrants in the past 60 days alone. And they're pointing the guns at these crowds of people. Imagine if one of these idiots thought, oh, I thought I saw a weapon in the crowd.
Exactly, yes.
Oh my God.
And the majority of the migrants that they're holding at gunpoint are children, women and children. I mean, we showed you the video on Friday when the story broke, and even one of these militia members who was filming it kept saying over and over again, oh my God, look at how many children there are. Why are you holding children at gunpoint, especially children who are with their families, they're seeking asylum, right? If they're not posing a danger to you, but they don't care. They know that they don't pose a danger. They know they're mostly children. As I mentioned in the original story that we did, if you look at the comments on the video, you have right-wingers saying things like, exterminate the cockroaches. So you look at a video full of children and you say exterminate them, very pro-life. We have a great pro-life right wing here in this country. Anyway, let me give you more details. Apparently, the FBI is now claiming that Hopkins told witnesses during a 2017 investigation that his militia was planning to assassinate 3 Democratic figures. So Reuters reported that. And he had been arrested before. He had previously been convicted in 2006 on charges and a firearm possession.
Look, there's a privilege in this country that almost no one talks about that's larger than any other privilege. That's right-wing privilege. So this guy threatened to assassinate Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and George Soros. If a Muslim American had threatened to assassinate Trump, George W. Bush, and one of the Koch brothers, who thinks he wouldn't have already been in prison? Nobody thinks that, right? But if you're a right-winger, you could threaten to assassinate people, you could put guns to people's heads, you could kidnap them en masse, and get away with it for years and years. Now look, I'm giving credit to the FBI because they did arrest them finally. They should arrest every one of those militia members. They all did it. But finally, we finally got the militia leader who's threatening to execute people and assassinate them and breaking the law and encouraging hundreds of others to break the law every single day. And finally, we got an arrest. Credit where credit is due the FBI. But the reason it takes so long and why it's tiny little enforcement instead of arresting everyone who's doing the illegal activities is because everybody in this country is scared of right-wingers. What will Rush Limbaugh say? Back in the day, nobody cares anymore. What will Fox News say? Well, oh my God, is Sean Hannity gonna yell at us? What is Lou Dobbs gonna say? Who cares what they say? Are you going to enforce the law or are you not? And the right wing has gotten away with so much in this country because of their crying. They just constantly whine and whine. Oh, you're targeting us. Yeah, if you're doing something illegal, then that is what law enforcement does. It targets you so that we get you to stop pretending to be cops or border patrol, which by the way is also an insult to border patrol, impersonating them.
Right, but border patrol has worked with them. Now, they're denying it now, but let me give you a statement from someone who only wanted to be identified as Jim. He's a spokesperson with this militia group. He says, quote, "There's no question about whether or not we work with Border Patrol. That's all documented, and not just once. It's documented hundreds and hundreds of times over in the videos that I post." And he's right, it is documented. Now, Border Patrol has responded to this and said, US Customs and Border Protection does not endorse private groups or organizations taking enforcement matters into their own hands, except you do. Except it's again, well documented, and you're right, Cenk, in that they didn't just turn a blind eye to it, they cooperated, they took part in this. It's insane, and I'm glad that there's, I guess, a little bit of good news with this arrest, but this issue keeps coming up. This isn't the first armed militia that has done this at the border. And these are people not just from New Mexico. There are people from around the country, in the middle of the country, traveling to the border to do this. And I just think it's gonna provoke a dangerous situation and a dangerous response.
So one last thing, Mother Jones reporter had infiltrated the group back in 2016. And they noticed that they were getting information from Border Patrol agents on where to pick up immigrants. So that's disgusting. Again, there's no way that Border Patrol or any other law enforcement would work with any left-wing group that was impersonating cops. Could you imagine if there was a Black Lives Matter group impersonating cops, pulling guns on people and detaining them hundreds at a time? And the cops were like, oh, good idea. Here, let me give you information on how to detain more people. It would never, ever happen, right? Right-wing privilege. And by the way, it's not just under Republican presidents. 2016, Barack Obama's president. But oh my God, don't criticize the right wing, don't criticize the right wing. That guy later says, the leader of the group later says, yeah, I was trying to assassinate Barack Obama. Walking around, free as a bird.
I know.
For years and years and years. So it's time to end this nonsense. So we're not saying go investigate all right-wingers, that's nuts, okay? But if there are right-wingers who are doing illegal things, for God's sake, enforce the law. It's not asking for too much. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.